Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Between Sessions with Berries. Today's guest I'm super excited to have is Dr. Lindsay Hill. She's a board-certified psychiatric nurse practitioner, educator, and founder of the Psych NP Bootcamp. She's on a mission to help new and transitioning psychiatric nurse practitioners build confidence and competence as they enter the real world of mental health care. As the co-founder of the Psych NP Network and president of the Arizona chapter of the American Psychiatric Nurses Association, Lindsay's impact is widespread and growing. She's here today to share her journey, the real challenges that PMHNPs face, and all the tools that make it work without the burnout. Lindsay, I'm so excited to have you here. Thanks for being our guest.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
You're welcome. So could you take us back about, when you first got into the field, what got you into the field, and then what drew you to being a nurse practitioner and then going into private practice as a nurse practitioner? I know that's a huge question, but I think not everybody chooses that path. So I'd love to talk about it.
I went to nursing school in Ohio, small town, 2 stoplights, cornfields, and I did not like my undergrad rotation in psych. I was like, I would not want to do this. This is kind of just like not my vibe. People aren't getting better. It would just really get me down to just feel like I'm passing pills out and people aren't getting better. And then when I moved to Arizona, I started working at Arizona State University as a community health nurse, and I saw the role of the psychiatric nurse practitioner. And I got to see it pretty intimately because there were psych NPs who worked in the clinic that I worked in. And so I saw students getting better, with the work they were doing with these psych NPs, with their mental health, their functioning. And I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. Like, I know I want to do that. So I went back to school. I went to ASU pretty shortly after I graduated as a nurse. I'd been practicing maybe a year and a half as a community health nurse, but I just kind of knew that that's what I wanted to do. And so I had a mentor at the time who really just pushed me to why not take the action steps? Like, let's do it. And I was like, well, I'm a beginner, A, and B, I don't know, and he's just like, he really encouraged me just to do it. So that was pretty cool. And then, when I got out and I started working as a psych NP, I found a place that had really solid mentorship because I knew I needed that. I was super insecure about my clinical skills and causing harm to somebody. That was my number one requirement. And so I found an amazing mentor, and I worked at that corporate job for probably 7 years. And then the pandemic hit, and I had my son, who's now 5, during that time. And then I also had a traumatic brain injury. I was in a ski accident in Tahoe. So I had all these life changes happening, and I've got really burned out of being a psych NP. I just need a break. So I took 6 months off, and I just tried to get back into my hobbies a little bit. I did a lot of thrifting during that time. I remember I was just trying to kind of go to therapy and figure out what was next for me because I honestly didn't know if I could keep doing what I was doing. And then during that time also, I did end up leaving that corporate job for a couple other corporate positions because I was like, well, maybe that's the answer. Maybe I need to kind of work with a different population or different setting. And then as I was doing that, I saw people who had much less clinical experience than me doing way cooler and bigger things. And then I was like, man, why do I tell myself that I would never be able to make it as an entrepreneur or I don't know. I just kind of got bored with myself too. I was like, I need to take a risk. I need to see if maybe I won't like it. Because I always thought I wouldn't private practice, having to be the final say on everything. That just kind of shut me down. And I was like, well, I'll always kind of wonder if I don't try. So I ended up launching a private practice, and I knew I kind of wanted to create some educational programs. And when I was asked to do it at an hourly rate, I kind of started thinking well, I could do that, or I could just make some of the stuff myself, which I've since found out is very, very hard creating educational content. It's a lot harder than it sounds. But anyway, so yeah, just kind of was this messy transition of just
Yeah. Well, let's talk about so the community, like community mental health and then corporate, because I feel like even as a therapist, we go through that same trajectory a little bit. Like we get out of school, we usually go community mental health, and that kind of burns us out because it's like also the most acute, it seems to be. Like the hardest population is where we start as therapists. I don't know if that was similar for nurse practitioners, but
For me,
then,
it was.
like, okay, maybe I'll go work private. Like, maybe that'll be different. But that even burns you out, right? Because it's like a culture and a schedule and like bosses and people. Like, I don't know what of it like burned you out. Like, even trying to switch from different corporate place to different corporate place. We're not all cut out for that type of thing. So it's really cool that you finally figured out I need to do something different. And then COVID hits and then an injury hits. And it's just like that's the springboard, it sounds like.
I think so.
Yeah.
There is another variable as I'm thinking through this that kind of happened.
Yes.
I'm a very like play by the rules kind of person, do what I think I'm supposed to do. And kind of during this time, my sister became a psych NP, and she has just a lot of like more natural confidence, I would say. And so like for her, she's like, I'm going to work part-time and I'm going to work telehealth when I graduate, which is kind of like controversial, like it's like I was kind of judging her. I'm like, go in the trenches like I did. Like, what do you mean? But she's done it. And her life situation, it makes sense for where she's at. She's like honoring her life situation and all kinds of things that she deals with in her life. Because we all have our own journeys, right? We all have our own things that we're dealing with day to day. So it's like you kind of have to honor what's right for you in that season. And sometimes it doesn't look like what you may have put on yourself as far as an expectation. So I think that actually is because we had job shared a corporate job, my sister and I.
Oh,
And I think
gotcha.
she was the one who was like, well, let's see if we can job share and you could be part time. And I'm like, I don't know. It just kind of came to be like that. So I think
That's amazing.
that also gave me confidence.
Once you like left school and then kind of went in these structured work environments and then tried or went out on your own into private practice, what did you find was the gap between like what school taught you all in nurse practitioner school versus what an actual practice needed to have run all those skills maybe you didn't get in school? What was the gap there that you've discovered?
Pretty massive because I don't remember learning a lot in school about billing or reimbursement. Now, granted, like I am an out-of-pocket provider, and part of that was feeling burned out with like insurances. I think that was one of the things I thought might be different in private, and it was a little bit different at first. But then they sold to a company, and I saw it all coming down the pipeline again of like the paperwork and the administrative hassle and everything like that. So yeah, I just marketing yourself. Like I had kind of just tried to be really behind the scenes, working in mental health. It's like I didn't want to put myself out there. Like I didn't want to be seen kind of. And then it was almost like liberating to go like, okay, well, what if you just did like make yourself a little bit seen? Like what's the worst that would happen? Like if you're not answering to anybody, it's not like you can get in trouble. You might have to deal with the consequences. So it kind of became like a challenge to myself too of like, just try something different, see what happens and see how it goes. So yeah, I got on social media and my mom would be the only one on there watching me. And my family was like, what are you doing? This is kind of funny. But I just kind of stayed consistent, and it paid off. But for sure, there's a massive gap as far as like what you learn in school and then being able to just launch a practice when it comes to billing, infrastructure, administrative support. How long are the appointments going to be? Are you going to hire a virtual assistant? Like there's just a lot of practical things. I think working in the corporate environments that I did helped me in a variety of those to see kind of how they did things, right? Like learn some of the behind the scenes just from working for them. So that definitely helped me out. But I had a lot of just kind of jumping in and trying something and a lot of times it wasn't the right thing, but I learned that way too from like taking action steps instead of just kind of being paralyzed in fear and not taking any action steps.
That makes so much sense. Yeah, and I was just going to ask you, now that you're coaching nurse practitioners going through the same process, like what are some of those initial struggles? Is it like, should I be insurance-based, not insurance-based? Do I telehealth, in person? Like, I just wonder, what are the major, maybe top 3 or 4 that you see right now when somebody's just coming into this?
Well, a big one is clinical confidence. And,
Okay.
we don't have a residency like psychiatrists do. So we don't have like that really
Interesting.
structured transition support. A lot of us just feel like we're just kind of like, wait, what? Now I'm supposed to go do this job and prescribe? Like, what do you mean? Like, it's very jarring. And that's a big reason why I built my boot camp as a transition to practice program. So clinical confidence is a huge one that people that Psych NPs struggle with. Also, knowing like what setting should I start out in? Where should I go for mentorship? Like, should I try to get this mentorship at the job that I get hired by, or should I do one of these mentorship programs, which are really a new thing? I mean, I hadn't even heard of a mentorship program until I went online as a Psych NP, which was, I don't know, 2021 maybe. So mentorship is a big one. Also, more so, people are asking more questions about like, should I be working full-time patient care hours, or like, should I be trying to kind of do other things for income too? Because I will say, like, even 10 years in, because I have 10 years of experience, like, it's still heavy emotionally. Like, the work itself is heavy, For me, one of the things I found to be true is like, I do a lot better with the different revenue streams, with the not seeing patients 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
Like I can give better care. I can take better care of myself, better care of my family. So that was one of the things that I learned. But really, there wasn't a lot of people doing that until it seems like recently. And it's almost like with the pandemic and people going to telehealth, because I had never thought about working telehealth, to be honest. That wasn't a big thing either. It kind of gave people permission almost to think about like, oh, wow. People had different opinions and thoughts and responded differently, obviously, to that shift, right? So that was hard too, to kind of figure out like what's the right thing, because I'm always looking, what's the right thing to do next? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
what do the best Psych NPs do? So I kind of stopped playing by the rules a little bit, I guess.
And it sounds like you really took into account, like, what kind of lifestyle do I want to have? Like the 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. clients back to back is not going to work for me. Probably learned that from the corporate world, I guess, where they probably try to cram in as many clients as they can, or patients. I guess you call them patients, or do you call them patients or clients?
It's
Either.
varied. Noticed.
It's varied. But I imagine, I mean, and then getting that like established that, I don't want to live this lifestyle. I need to figure out another way to do this and still make a good living and all of that stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's definitely been a transition and like an identity. There was an identity crisis for sure, because there was guilt there as far as like just feeling like what I should be doing. Am I selling out? Like, am I just trying to like live this fluffy lifestyle that's superficial? That's not necessarily the goal. Like, I want more time with my son and to be like flexible, but I really had to go back to like my why, my purpose. And it's something that I revisit frequently, because it's easy to get off track, as opportunities present themselves. It's easy. And I think I've been a very historically reactive person instead of being kind of intentional with what I want for my life and whatnot. So
Gotcha. So it was more like, okay, I'm responding, I've got a head injury or the pandemic, like I'm responding to events instead of looking at it ahead of time and deciding this is like the lifestyle I want to live and let me build it out that way.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Gotcha. And I'm guessing now that you've got that perspective, it's easier to help the new MPs that are coming through to be able to like start from that model, possibly like lifestyle modeling their practice around that instead of the cookie cutter, this is how you do this kind of thing.
Exactly. And I think it's just like this balancing act, because there is a lot of controversy within just even being a Psych NP and what that means, because so many people started becoming a Psych NP when the pandemic hit and more of these for-profit programs popped up that weren't necessarily like having we don't have standardized education. So that's a big like criticism that we get, which there's a lot of variables out there that make it to where it's really important for me to like try to help the field. You know what I mean? A lot of judgments too, as far as like, becoming a Psych NP once it was like a popular thing to do. And when you could travel, kind of like travel nursing was like a trend kind of thing.
Yes.
So there's just like a lot of comments that get made on social media too, like, oh, Psych NPs are just doing it for the money, or there's just a lot that you kind of have to wade through and that I have to think about because I want to be intentional with what I'm promoting. I don't just want to be like just promoting things to try to sell things just because,
Absolutely. So interesting.
getting into the weeds here, getting off on these rabbit trails.
No, it's great. I mean, it's super helpful because I'm sure people listening, other MPs listening, are feeling the same way if they're in the beginning or have felt the same way. I can totally relate to that because I, being a therapist, I know we have a lot of controversial things too, and it's really hard to step outside of that box and be brave and like follow, the beat of your own drum kind of thing when there's so many naysayers in your ear all the time about it should be this way or it should be done that way.
Exactly.
Totally get it.
You get it.
Yeah, and you being brave to do that and then create something to put it out there to teach other people, I think it's amazing to set that path for people. Yeah.
Thank you. It was definitely scary because
Yeah.
I'm somebody too who I hated public speaking. I really hated public speaking and just kind of honestly just being seen. Like I've just been like an under the radar person that which is funny now because I'm so not under the radar anymore. And my sister would laugh if she heard me say, she'd be like, you're not under the radar. But I feel like I was for a long time.
I totally get that. I'm the same way, actually. It's pretty funny. But once you set your mind to it, and then I don't know about you, but once I set my mind to it and it's like, I've got this passion, I feel like pressured. Like I want to spread the word and help other people be able to transition this way and not be stuck in that exhaustive burnout model, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And I think too, one of my bosses who, like I said, had less clinical experience, but had scaled a group practice, sold it. He was also the one who introduced me to home exchange, which has been really life-changing for us as a family, a more
Oh.
and I'm not getting paid to
nice.
say this. I'm not an affiliate of home exchange or anything like that, but just the opportunities to be able to travel for a month at a time, as a family when you have kids is pretty incredible. But he modeled that, as far as he was going to travel for a month, and I'm like, wait, what? You own this practice? Yeah. So I think just kind of
So cool.
modeling for other people that, it doesn't have to look one certain way.
So you made the decision at some point, I'm not going to work this schedule. I want to have other income streams. You're doing the Psych NP Bootcamp already. Are you teaching scaling strategies in the bootcamp on how to maybe scale it to other income streams to help reduce the burnout?
Yes, it's kind of become more a part of it, just as a result of people asking me. There are people who have joined the boot camp who don't even really necessarily need the clinical aspect. And they're just drawn to my community because they're like, well, how did you do that? And, I haven't really had an offering for that per se. So
interesting. Yeah.
I've kind of weaved that in and just, it's something I want to talk more about. And I'm getting more into business coaching with that a little bit because it's really fun. My husband and I have just helped people recently for just friends of ours with getting set up for their revenue streams and seeing them make money. We love it. We're this is so cool.
Awesome.
This is, Stan Store. I'm nerding out about Stan Store right now because Stan Store has made it easier for me to sell my offers. And sales isn't something that you get taught in school.
No,
it's not just creating a course or creating you have to market it. People have to know about it. You need eyeballs.
Yeah.
And how does that happen?
Maybe you could talk about Stan Store. I've read about it too and been curious about it for products and that sort of thing. So how do you use Stan Store as an entrepreneur and what are your products on your Stan Store? Maybe we just cover those so we could talk about them a little bit. Everything that you've diversified.
Yeah, absolutely. So the boot camp is on there primarily. Okay. That's kind of my main flagship core offer, right? But even just having a streamlined landing page, because I've had different checkout pages for my boot camp. I've had it on different tech platforms. I was on Mighty Network for a little. It was a Go High Level product basically. And it wasn't very effective at converting my leads and it wasn't very user friendly. And so to find Stan, something that I can actually set up, I don't have to pay somebody. It's that basic that intuitive to set up a landing page to try out an offer is kind of like mind blowing. So even recently, like I've licensed some content that's kind of like the next level of the boot camp as far as like difficulty wise, but being able to like test out offers of like even an upsell for like somebody who's in the boot camp who's coming to me anyway, wanting these things, right?
Yes.
But like figuring out how to do it. Or another example would be now that I've started sharing about Stand Store, all these providers are coming to me. And so my husband and I got on a call this morning with somebody and we put together an offer for a VIP day.
Nice.
And I just did that this morning. I don't know if she's going to purchase it or not, but like the fact that you can do something that quickly is super incredible, because how you package an offer, I've realized, learning from people like Alex Hormozy and stuff like that matters. And I think people give up too soon before they don't realize that like changing the title of a program can really changing a price point a little bit, like changing these things so with Stan, you can iterate, and you can do it pretty like intuitively. So I'm kind of obsessed with it, and I'm nerding out that like the founder reposted my stuff today. I'm like,
oh my gosh, that's exciting.
I'm fangirling, and I'm in the Gary Vee challenge, and I want to go to New York. I'm very determined at this point, but you have to make the most sales between like October something and December. So I've like kind of readjusted some of my launches, and I'm like, I'm here for it, Kim.
Oh my gosh. Anybody listening, go buy from Lindsay right now. Go to her Stand Store. We're going to have the links down in the comments. That's so exciting. I'm the same way. I get addicted to the entrepreneurial like life, the funnels and the, it's obsessive, like really for me, because it's so easy now with AI, and hopefully we could talk about AI a little bit too. AI makes it so much easier to put these offers out and just to be able to create like landing pages and products and, and then like you said, you talk to somebody on the phone and it's like, God, a VIP offer would be great for her. Let me create it real quick and put it out there. And if she doesn't buy it, somebody else will, because it's out there now, which is so cool.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can make the landing pages public or private. You can have it on your storefront or not.
Nice.
And the templates, you can choose a template that kind of feels like your brand, which is nice too. So they look nice. I think people who maybe thought they couldn't do it, like can do it, which is really cool. It's pretty incredible. Yeah. I'm having so much fun with it.
It's really cool because it's like having a niche, having a desire like you do, even though maybe you don't like the public speaking in the beginning, but having a niche and a desire, and then the ability to do it so quickly these days is just amazing to me. And it gives you so much freedom and space. And you can still be a nurse practitioner, but do all this other stuff too. Yeah,
exactly. The freedom and space that I have now is like, I love it so much and I value it so much. I'm very grateful. Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. So how about AI? We always love to talk about AI on this podcast because it's the Berries podcast and we love AI, but are you using AI with your content creation or your NP Bootcamp or just in your practice? How are you using AI in your life, like technology-wise, to help make your life easier?
Well, I use AI scribes. I've used almost all of them, like as far as for helping with charting. I was shocked the first time that I tried Freed for the first time. I was just with my brother, like here actually, I think, and he's a firefighter. He was being really obnoxious, like, and the note that it put together was like really good. I'm like, wait, what? I was so confused. So anyway, I've tried a lot of different ones. I use a kind of PMH scribe sometimes. I use Berries, and it's great. It's a great tool. And I love that I don't have to be like typing, because I did that for so many years where I just was like typing the entire time and I got pretty good at it. But it's nice to feel like I can really be present on a different level now with my patients. So that's a big way that I use it. What else? Oh, content creation. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Do you know how much time I took on the first iteration of the boot camp with slide decks that now I'm like, I need to redo all of those. They aren't even very good. And now I have tools that like they will look so much better. Like,
Oh my
I'm just
gosh.
like shook by that. You know what I mean? Thinking back to making those slides and making those videos, I'm
Yes.
like, oh wow. So I need to like redo a lot of stuff. I have a lot in the pipeline. But what else do I use AI for? Okay, this is kind of interesting. I've been using the audio feature. Like, I've been going on my walking pad because I'm kind of a verbal processor. So I have this career accelerator coming up. It's an event that I'm doing with 2 other Psych NPs where I'm going to talk about diversifying revenue streams, marketing, and negotiating. And I have been, because it's a new topic for me to talk on, I've been talking to AI a lot about it. And I've been kind of like practicing what I want to say. And that kind of helped me put together my slide deck. But it's helping me just kind of like process through what I want my main points to be, because I have a lot to say and I'm not the best at organizing this stuff. This was part of the problem, the intention that my sister and I had when we put out version 1 of the boot camp. She's like, you can't include everything. Like, this is getting out of control, you know? So anyway, that's really cool to use that like audio feature just for like processing and also practicing talking about something, because I still do have some of that anxiety with speaking with a lot of eyes on me. Just being able to talk it out loud. I something I encourage my nurse practitioners to do when they're practicing psychiatric interviewing is like to like practice with somebody or practice saying it out loud, right? So that's another way I've been using AI. What else? I'm just kind of learning how to use it more for like potentially, social media, branding, graphics type stuff. I just try to learn every day. I remember when ChatGPT came out and my husband was like super obsessed, like day one.
Yeah.
And he was telling everybody and I was making fun of him because I didn't get it, Now I get it. Now I understand.
It's like, oh. Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's
Nice.
anything. I know that there's other things that I use. So Stan has an AI feature. So this morning to write the landing page for the VIP offering, it like scrapes your content and it helped put that together. So I'm using that. I'm using like some of the note-taking apps like Fathom, when I'm on calls. Those are nice.
It helps so much. It's so nice. Just being able to be present in meetings and not be like, oh, I got to remember that or I got to write this down. Right.
Pretty incredible. Yeah, it's
really
just like,
is.
I guess my mind's just kind of blown at like the
Yeah.
opportunities right now. Like, I kind of feel like I'm in this moment in time of like, this is like unique, like that we are given these tools and some people are going to really use these tools and really impact a lot of people.
Inside of your boot camp, do you talk about AI stuff much, or is it more like let's talk about like the beginning strategies and all of that, just for the nurse practitioners listening that might want to know more about the boot camp? What
Yeah,
could they
it's
expect
both.
if they
It's
jumped
both.
into that program? Okay.
Because we do live coaching. So a lot of times these questions are
Oh,
coming up
nice.
anyway. And if you mention that you're using something, they want to know how you're using it. I'm also like a fan of this product called Headlamp, which is basically like, if you're familiar with Health Information Exchange, it's like a prettier version of that, but it's not just that. It also is like, there's an app for the patient to track how they're progressing, and then the Health Information Exchange pretty version database like brings all this data together where you can see more clearly like,
Wow.
oh, we started this med here, this is when their sleep started changing, because it also tracks like information from their Aura Ring and Apple Health. And so to get more of those, like, I'm a big nerd with like visuals,
Yeah.
graphs, because that's what really speaks to me. So I'm like, if I have this to show my patients, like, oh, they can see now how cutting back on alcohol just by 2 beers a week, they can see how their sleep's changed. Like, that's really what drives behavior change, right? Like changing the
Wow.
behavior, seeing a pro, a con. So huge fan of Headlamp, and they're like, just their product's going to get better and better and better.
So cool. Oh my gosh. I love it. And then probably, I'm guessing the AI is in the background, like culminating all this information to make this like really amazing, like outcome or visual for them to be able to see all this.
Exactly. So my new Psych NPs are especially obsessed, and I would have been too, having some information in advance to be able to go, well, even a patient, I had an intake this week who couldn't remember what SSRI she had been on, and being able to look, oh, it was Prozac. That was super helpful for me. She couldn't recall it. This was actually our second appointment. So that was helpful information for me to know, like I wanted to prescribe Zoloft in this instance, or, health conditions, diagnoses. So it's really helpful to have more of that information in one place.
Oh my gosh, isn't it amazing? If you think back, it's like, oh my gosh, we used to just have to remember all this and try to piece it together in our brains.
I know. I'm shook when I think about it.
I know. It's amazing. And then how far it's going to come. I mean, this is like just the beginning, Thank you so much for being here today. It was amazing having you as a guest. I loved learning about everything you're doing. So how do people find you? If they want to find your stand store or join your NP Bootcamp, how do they connect with you?
Psych NP CEO is my handle that I have on like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. So just search for that and you'll find me. And my stand store is like my link in my bio and stuff. So I would love that if people come follow along for the journey. Yeah, I try to share kind of transparently as I'm going through things the best that I can, I
love that. I think that makes it so much more relatable to see somebody that's already like walked the path, had the pitfalls, had the trouble, figured out how to like do this thing around your lifestyle and any of those, problems that come up, the controversies of being an NP or having a diverse lifestyle or something like that, So I think that's really cool that you're putting that out there for nurse practitioners, because I really don't see it a lot. Now, the therapist world is doing great with it, but nurse practitioners, I don't see a lot of that. So I think it's really cool that you're out there helping other nurse practitioners not burn out and figure out how to do all the things.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot.
You're welcome. Thanks for being a guest.